So what we're going to talk about today is this notion of you're carrying something, how to bear the weight and lift the burden. So I want to point your attention to Romans chapter 8. And where we find ourselves in the text, this pericope begins at verse 18. But just prior to this, Paul is instructing the church at Rome that we as faithful children are in fact heirs with Christ. Anybody marry into, don't raise your hand. Just think with me. This is introspective, right? Anybody marry into a good family? Like you kind of don't want them to figure out where you're really from? Like you marry up? Anybody marry up? And I'm not just talking about financially. This could be in character. This could just be in appearance. We married up. And so I need you to understand that when you get an inheritance or you marry into something or you by relationship become exposed to something that you realize you don't deserve, there should be a response of gratitude. And so Paul is letting the church at Rome know that we are in fact not only heirs of Christ, but we are heirs with Christ. And when we realize that his perfect life bears a standard that our imperfect lives cannot, we ought to be grateful for the reality that we have an inheritance not only of him, but with him. And so in that inheritance, he starts to break down that there's this metaphor even of childbirth or childbearing or carrying a child. And so he talks about our inheritance as a faith family, but then he talks about how all of creation is in fact waiting for this birth to take place. And so we find ourselves in Romans chapter 8, verses 18 and 19, and it reads this way from the ESV. For I consider that the sufferings, say sufferings, of this present time are not worth comparing to the glory, say glory, that is to be revealed to us. For the creation waits, say wait, with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God. So now we got to talk about this notion of sons of God. In English, we get this phrase consistently, but it comes from one of two places. Sometimes when we see the sons of God, chiefly under the Old Covenant or the Old Testament, it could be referring to angels or angelic beings. For example, in Job, we can see that Lucifer comes amongst the sons of God, and that's when they begin to discuss who they're going to challenge the faithfulness of, and the Lord himself offers up Job. But under the New Covenant, typically and chiefly, Paul is giving us this framework of sons of God to allow us to recognize our inheritance. Now, you need to understand context here because this is not patriarchal or misogynistic.